Yes, Rohan is asking what is 1 equal to minus 1. Okay, so the statement is known as a false statement, obviously, is that? So, known as a mathematical fallacies. Okay, so this is one of the fallacy that you have. Why I'm written this fallacy actually? The reason is yes, in today's session, when we learn the Lagrange's method, this fallacy plays an important role there because that is a trick to solve the Lagrange's partial differential equation. So first of all, I want to prove here this statement 1 is equal to minus 1. Now to prove this statement, uh, I will going to prove this theorem that or that statement again. I will say it's not a theorem. If p plus q upon q plus r is equal to r plus s upon s plus p. Suppose there are p, q, r, s are four variables, four numbers there. Okay, we are saying if this statement is there, then p is equal to r always. Okay, so that first I'm going to prove it, and with the help of this statement, we are going to prove then 1 is equal to minus 1 there. So you should know the theorem of equal ratios now. There are different rules for theorem of equal ratio. This is one important thing, remember, because many times we require these rules of theorem of equal ratio in solving Lagrange's equation. Yes, anyone can tell me one of the rule of theorem of equal ratio? Any one of the rule? See, this is the most important thing because when you are going to solve PDE now, Lagrange's PDE, you require this theorem of equal ratios. So theorem of equal ratio, I will write one of that, then you can get it others. Suppose we have a ratio, say A upon B is equal to C upon D. Okay, if this holds, A upon B is equal to C upon D, then we say A plus B upon B is equal to C plus D upon D. What is the name of this rule? What's the name of this rule? No one. Is it true first? When A upon B is equal to C upon D, then A plus B upon B is always equal to C plus D upon D. Is it always true?
Yes,
That is
true.
always true.
Yes, sir,
And
true.
that is known as componendo actually. So we know that a componendo and that componendo and dividendo, if you do both the things, we can say A plus B upon A minus B is equal to C plus D upon C minus D. Okay, not so actually each ratio is equal to that one. So if I want to say in general, so let I write it. If we have ratio like this, A upon B is equal to C upon D, then that is yes. Yes, any doubt? Is it true? Not only that, I can write like A plus C upon B plus D also. Sum of numerators on both sides, A plus C upon B plus C. So all these things, whatever all these things I done here, these are known as a theorem of equal ratio. These are known as a theorem of equal ratio. Neil, is it okay? Okay. So these are known as a theorem of equal ratio. There is componendo, dividendo, and there are other things that like A plus C is equal to B is equal to A plus C upon B plus D also that way. So I will use one of the theorem of equal ratio here. Now on this given ratio, so let I show you here. So you'll observe we are given, this is the given part. Say P plus Q upon Q plus R is equal to R plus S upon S plus P. Then by theorem of equal ratio, we are taking the addition. We are taking the sum of the addition of a numerator divided by sum of addition of denominator. So each ratio is equal to, that is P plus Q upon Q plus R is equal to this one. Now you'll observe the numerator and denominator are the same thing. So gets cancel each other. If they cancels, then we're left with P plus Q upon Q plus R is equal to 1 because this cancels. This cancel with here and you'll get equal to 1. So if you cross multiply, and you will observe that Q gets cancelled and we get P equal to R. So first of all, the proof is completed. The proof of this statement is completed. In general, for any PQRS, if this first part holds, then P is always equal to R. Okay. Any problem in the proof? Is there any problem in the proof? No. So let I move then. Let I move to the required thing. Now let me replace some particular values for PQRS. So in the next step, I'm going to take P is equal to 1, Q is equal to 4, R is minus 1, S is a minus 4, so that for these values, LHS is equal to RHS. You'll observe the LHS is the P plus Q upon Q plus R. If you replace these values of PQ, RS in LHS and PQRS in RHS, then LHS is equal to RHS. Both are coming 5 by 3. So we should say P is equal to R. So what is P and R? What is P and R? So we get 1 equal to minus 1. So what gets wrong here? Okay, or which step is wrong? Because of that, we come across a wrong result, and that is known as a fallacy. Okay, this is a false statement. Some wrong thing we done in the proof, and because of that we getting the wrong answer. But is that wrong? Mathematically it looks like everything is correct, everything is correct, but somewhere we are wrong, so which indicates 1 is equal to minus 1, and that's definitely not possible. So anyone got the clue here, or what that answer, where we went wrong here? Or 1 is equal to minus 1 is true now? We already proved now, so you can use anywhere now. 1 is equal to minus 1. Yes. Just tell me quickly. So with the help of mathematics, we can prove anything then. Huh? 1 equal to minus 1, 1 is equal to 100. No one is able to tell the answer. Okay, so I will tell the answer then if you are not able to tell me right now. Hmm? No one? Okay, so the mistake is in the step of selecting these values. You cannot put these values in that statement. The reason is, if for these values of PQRS, what happens when you cancel that term, when you cancel this P plus Q plus R plus S, if you add these four terms, you will observe their sum is a 0. So indirectly, you are getting 0 upon 0, and you are cancelling 0, and cancellation of 0 is not allowed. That we already know. Okay, so the mistake is in this step. Uh, Another important thing you should know in a theorem of equal ratio. Theorem of equal ratio says, yes, this is equal. P plus Q upon Q plus R is equal to P plus Q plus R plus S divided by Q plus R plus S plus P, provided denominator not 0. Or we say if numerator is a 0, the denominator is always 0. In theorem of equal ratio, I will say here again, suppose this is the case, A upon B is equal to C upon D, then A upon B is equal to, I will say, A plus B upon A minus B. This is only when, or say, A plus B upon A minus B, that's one, is equal to, I will say, A plus C upon B plus D. A plus C upon B plus D also. But this is only when, suppose A plus C is a 0. If A plus C is coming 0, B plus D should be 0. B plus D should be 0. Or if B plus D is a 0, if denominator is a 0, the numerator should be 0. I will write it again because this is the important statement that we are going to use it now. If a upon b is equal to c upon d, then a upon b is equal to a plus c upon b plus d. If b plus d is a 0, suppose that denominator sum is a 0, this is coming b plus d as a 0, then a plus c should be 0. A plus c should be 0. That's the theorem of equal ratio. This is the one hidden line in the theorem of equal ratio, and that we generally not focus on it, and because of that line here the fallacy is created. Okay, that false statement is created. Yes, obviously, Sanchit, this is not part of syllabus. Okay, this is not part of syllabus, but the statement we require, the statement theorem of equal ratio that you learnt in your school days, that we require. Actually, whatever this fallacy I taken, this I taken from my one of my book. Actually, I already written one book here. Name of the book is Where Mathematics Goes Wrong. Okay, me and I think you may know the Vinod Mangwani sir. Okay, both of us written this book. So one of that fallacy is there in that book. Such a 50 fallacies, 10, 12 howlers, and some number tricks are given there. So one of that. The purpose of taking this fallacy is only to show the importance of this rule, importance of the rule. Now this rule we are going to use in Lagrange's method. Let me see the next slide, and which is a part of our syllabus, and let me see here. First of all, we are going to solve now first order partial differential equation, and in first order partial differential equation we have the form pp plus qq equal to r. This is the Lagrange's form, where remember the small p and small q. Small p is a dou z by dou x, small q is a dou z by dou y, and capital PQR are these functions of xy, function of xyz. Okay, they are function of xyz. So we are here only on the first order linear partial differential equation, pp plus qq equal to r, where pqr are the function of xyz. Then Lagrange's this auxiliary equation is there. To solve this Lagrange's partial equation, we get the solution from auxiliary equation. Can you tell me how many arbitrary constants or how many arbitrary functions should be there in a solution? How many arbitrary constant or arbitrary function should be there in solution? Yes. Yes, anyone? If we solve this pp plus qq equal to r in a solution, how many arbitrary constant or arbitrary functions should be there? No reply. How many? Okay, Neil is saying 2, but what about 2? Arbitrary constant or arbitrary function? We already seen number of arbitrary functions in the solution is equal to the order of differential equation. So right now it is a first order PD, so only one arbitrary function should be there in solution, or two arbitrary constant, Right now, when we write this auxiliary equation, dx upon p equal to dy upon q equal to dz upon r, it is just like equal ratios. We have some equal ratios, and now our aim is to get two independent solution first. So to get these two solution, u is equal to constant and v is equal to constant, we use different methods. Okay, so there is no unique method in Lagrange's, and that's a tricky part actually. So to get this u equal to constant, v equal to constant, we have three ways. First way, direct integration. If by observation, the first solution, the first way we can get a solution by observation only. Just observe this auxiliary equation and try to check whether it can be separated in variable separable form. Means like fx into dx equal to fy into dy. Okay, or fx into dx is equal to fz into dz. If we are getting one of this form, Okay, here you will observe function variable x is on one side, y is on other side, or x is on one side, z is on the other side. If it is in variable separable form, just by integration we get a solution. So you should know the three rules. Only three rules we require to get the solution. First, I will tell you, our aim is to get the two solutions. This one, first way is direct integration. Just I told you, but for that we require variable separable form. Second is again one of the most important thing. We have multipliers. Okay. Now this is a tricky thing, and here we require that trick that you just learned. We are going to use multipliers. We are going to use a multiplier. Say multipliers are some number or variable, anything. Okay. Suppose my multipliers are say x, y, and z. If I selected x, y, z multiplier, but we have to select this multiplier so that value of xp plus yq plus zr should be 0. So this one, xp plus yq plus zr, because I'm going to write this as x dx plus y dy plus z dz divided by xp plus yq plus zr plus zr. Now already we've seen if we have selected this xyz, okay, not necessarily they are always xyz, that are generally function of x, function of y, and function of z, or some constant. So important part is our multipliers should be so that when you multiply to the denominator and add it or subtract it, this denominator should come to the zero. And by theorem of equal ratio, if denominator is zero, what about numerator? What about the numerator? Numerator also should be a zero. So we are going to get one equation, x dx plus y dy plus z dz equal to 0, and it gives us another solution. Say if we integrate it, we get the answer, say x square by 2 plus y square by 2 plus z square by 2 is equal to c. So that is one of the solution, v equal to constant, like v equal to constant. So we get that solution. So first method I told you, that is direct integration. Second method is a multiplier. Multipliers are used in a different ways. We'll go through examples, it becomes more clear. And lastly, you can use theorem of equal ratios also. Not necessary that denominator should always be a zero. You can just add, subtract, okay, all theorem of equal ratios you can use it, so that you can integrate it. But the most important part you should remember while using a theorem of equal ratio is this numerator should be in the form of f dash and denominator should be in the form of f. If it is coming in the form of f dash upon f, we can integrate it as a log f. Integration of f dash upon f is a log f. So when you use a theorem of equal ratio, most important thing you should focus on this form f dash upon f, f dash upon f. That is a way you should get it. And now when you have two solutions, u equal to constant and v equal to constant, then the general solution of Lagrange's equation with one arbitrary function can be written as function of u comma v equal to 0. Now this solution contains one arbitrary function, or there is other way also to write solution, and that is u is equal to phi of v. Okay, so you can write it either in implicit form, function of u comma v equal to 0, or u equal to function of v, or v equal to function of u. So that are the ways of writing the final answer of Lagrange's PDE. Okay, now come to the example, then only it becomes clear, because yes, I will tell you that Lagrange's method is a little tricky method. And again, the examples are not that much asked in the old question paper. In last 4 years, maximum 1 or 2 question asked on Lagrange's, but yes, it's part of syllabus. So let me go through it. So the question is on the screen. X square plus p plus y square q is equal to x plus y into z. That differential equation we have to solve it. What is the meaning of small p and q? Yes. What is the meaning of small p and small q?
Dou z by dou x
Yes,
and
very good.
for
Dou
p,
z by dou
Okay,
y.
good.
small p.
Yeah, that is the dou z by dou x and dou z by dou y. So this is the Lagrange's form. So compare it with the form pp plus qq is equal to r, and write the values of that capital PQR. So what is the value of capital P? Anyone? What's the value of capital P here?
X square.
Capital Q?
y square.
And
Y square.
capital R, RHS. Okay. So once we get capital PQR, we generally write a Lagrange's auxiliary equation. So consider dx upon p. What is p here? X square is equal to dy upon q. What is q? Q is a y square is equal to dz upon capital R, that is x plus y upon z. Now remember, when we write the auxiliary equation, our aim is to find minimum two solutions. There are many solutions actually, but out of that, only two solutions we require. So again, I will tell you, different student may have the different answers, but they are equivalent. I will say they are equivalent. But the simplest way, yes, anyone? Which ratio we can integrate so that we get first solution directly? The observation is required, and you should decide uh, which thing you are going to use. Is direct integration or multiplier or theorem of equal ratio? Yes, anyone? Is a direct integration possible? If possible, in which ratios? Yes, quick.
Direct integration in dx and dy.
Yes, correct. You will observe there is function of x and function of y only present in the first. Okay, so you can integrate it. So what is the integral of 1 upon x square? By first two ratios, what's the integration of this one? Integral of 1 upon x square.
Minus 1 by x.
Okay, minus 1 by x. Integration of 1 upon y square.
Minus 1 by y.
Minus 1 by y. Now constant of integration. So I will say c. Constant of integration is c. So I can rewrite this equation as 1 by x. Okay, 1 by x or 1 by y minus 1 by x. You can write it any of the way. Okay, so I will write it like this: 1 by y minus 1 by x is equal to c. So it is one solution we got, like u is equal to constant. U equal to constant. This is one of the solution we got. Okay, so it is just like u equal to constant. Okay, now one more solution we want. One more solution we want. Now you can again observe these three ratios, first, second, and third, and you can decide what can be done so that you can integrate. Yes, the observation power is very important here. Remember, first, direct integration. Is a direct integration possible now in any of the remaining ratios? First and last or second and last? It's not possible. Only first two ratios are in variable separable form. So direct integration is over now. So we cannot use that part. Now only two things left. One is a multiplier. We have to select some multipliers so that if we multiply some multiplier, say ax square plus by square plus c of x plus y plus z is a 0, and that is also not possible actually. You cannot select because here is a z and that term you cannot make as a 0. So multiplier is also not possible. Now last thing is left. Last thing is left, and that is, yes, that is theorem of equal ratio. Now think for componendo, dividendo, or something, some rule of the ratio so that you can integrate. You can integrate. Yes, can you think something about these ratios that you can add somewhere? Means you can add numerator to numerator, or you subtract numerator from numerator, or you can add numerator with the denominator. So number of ways possible with the ratios there, which keep the ratio same. Yes, anyone? When we can integrate, remember that rule, f dash upon f. We should have derivative divided by a function, so that integration of f dash upon f is a log f. F dash upon f is a log f. So how to get it? No idea? No idea? Can you observe here is x plus y, and if we want to remove this x plus y, if we remove this x plus y, then integral of dz upon z is possible. And to remove this x plus y, what can be possible thing with these two ratios? Yes? Still no answer. Can I write like this? Each ratio is equal to dx minus dy divided by x square minus y square. But that x square minus y square, I can write it as x minus y into x plus y. Is it? Is it?
Yes, sir.
And now this x plus y gets cancelled, and now this is dz upon z, dx minus dy upon x minus y. And this is, you can observe the derivative of denominator is present in the numerator. So integrating log z is equal to log of x minus y, and whenever both, sorry, it is x minus y, here is y and here is minus
Hello,
sign.
sir.
Yes, yes.
I didn't get this steps. Dx minus dy.
Okay, dx, I will tell you. Remember, there is no unique way. First of all, there is no unique method in the Lagranges. Every example you have to think a little differently, and there are only three chances with you. The first chance, direct integration. Direct integration. And direct integration, you observe when you can use it if it is in variable separable form. It is a dx upon x square equal to dy upon y square there. Okay, so here integration is possible. That is the first thing. But direct integration is not possible in second and third ratio or first and third ratio. You cannot integrate it. Okay. The second way is a multiplier. Multiplier will work provided you multiply something. Suppose we are multiplying ABC to the first, second, and third ratio. So by multiplying ABC to the first, second, third ratio, we should get like ax square plus by square plus c into this function should be 0. But is there any ABC exist that may be a constant or variable? By multiplying them, we can make this denominator 0. It's again not possible. So this multiplier is again not working. Direct integration, yes, it is work. It gives us one solution. Okay, multiplier is not working. Third thing is known as a theorem of equal ratio. Now in theorem of equal ratio, already I told that if we have A upon B is equal to C upon D, then each ratio is always equal to this one, A plus C upon B plus D. Is it? Is it okay? Is it okay? Then that also
Yes,
can be
yes.
same as A minus C upon B minus D. Okay. So this is the rule. This is the rule of a theorem of equal ratio. Okay, suppose 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 is there. 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 is there. So it is equal to 3 by 6, or it can be like, okay, it can be 1 by 2 again. Okay, you can check it. You can check it with, this is the rule. This is the rule that you can use it. Now, we have to use this rule so that it should come in the form of f dash x upon fx or f dash upon f. I will say f dash upon f. You will observe why I selected this dx minus dy. The purpose is to make this x plus y as a cancel. Okay, this we have to make a cancel so that it remain in f dash upon f. If f is a z, its f dash is a dz. If f is a x minus y, its f dash is a dx minus dy. So that is the purpose, and we get this integration log z equal to log of x minus y plus log c. Log c. And now if you remove this log on both sides, it is say z upon x minus y equal to c. I will write it with other ink. Okay, I already solved it. I will show you by different way. So this equation gives us z upon x minus y is equal to c. Suppose you take this as a c1, you can take this as a c2. Now you got two solution. One is a u equal to constant, v equal to constant. Now the final answer we can write it in the form of phi of u comma v equal to 0 or u equal to phi v. U equal to phi v. So just you have to replace the value of u. This is u is 1 by y minus 1 by x. I will show you all these things one by one. Let I erase it. So you'll observe the first thing. This is the Lagrange's. Can you see this? This is Lagrange's auxiliary equation. This is a replacement of PQR. Now you'll observe by first two ratios we get 1 by y minus 1 by x equal to C1. Suppose some other student write 1 by x minus 1 by y equal to C1. That is also correct. Okay. So this C1 is an arbitrary constant. It can be anything. So that about first solution we got, u equal to C1. Another solution, yes, we got it by theorem of equal ratios. We taken dx minus dy. Dx minus dy is equal to each ratio actually. Out of that, we taken third ratio. Why third ratio? Because integration is possible after it. So we got x minus y upon z equal to C2. If someone writes z upon x minus y equal to C2, that is also correct. Okay, z upon x minus y equal to C2, that is also correct. Or x minus y upon z, C2, both are correct. So the answer is, the final answer is written, one of the answer is written here. That is one of the way of the answer is written here, and that answer is phi of u comma v equal to 0. Phi, this is u comma v equal to 0, or there is another way of writing the answer is u equal to phi of v. So u is like 1 by y minus 1 by x. 1 by y minus 1 by x is equal to phi of x minus y upon z. So you can write the answer either in this form or in that form. Both are correct. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear? Any doubt? Even though I'm saying there is not a unique way of solving this Lagrange's, but in all the examples, you have only three things that you have to focus: direct integration, multipliers, or theorem of equal ratio. The simplest way is a direct integration. One of the simplest, you get direct integration. Next, multiplier is another simple thing. Theorem of equal ratio is a little tricky. You have to think on theorem of equal ratio so that f dash upon f form should come there. Derivative upon that function. So if still you have the doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, I will show you the next question. Those who are interested, note down it. In the textbook, the answer is written in this form, second form, u equal to 5a form. Okay, in a textbook, all the answers are written in the form u equal to phi of v. U equal to phi of v. Why one arbitrary function is there? Because it is first order PDE, so its solution contains one arbitrary function. So once you finish, tell me. We'll move to the next then. Okay, done. So let me move to the next question then. Okay, just 1 minute. Sorry. All so example 2 is on the screen. X square into y minus z equal to p plus y square into z minus x equal to q is equal to x minus y into z square. So step number 1, write auxiliary equation. Okay, so dx upon p equal to dy upon q equal to dz by r. Can anyone tell me direct integration is possible or not? Tell me what should be the way we should approach to get the two solutions. Just one. Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was asking you taking math.
Yes.
Even I have a 10-year-old daughter from IB board.
Oh,
Maths,
in campus, no one is there. In campus, no? No one is there in campus.
Nobody's no wife or
Mm, campus.
There
There is,
my
I think, okay. No, that is not, that is a laptop. Right? Just a minute.
I just shifted, so I wanted her to get the hang of the maths. And maths was also consuming. Where was it? Razi Khan.
Okay.
I'm in block 8, huh?
Okay, sir. I will tell you.
G1.
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
So, any answer? Yes. What should be the way to get the solution? Or completely confused? Huh? No one is thinking there. Is direct integration possible? Tell me first. First thing. Is a direct integration possible?
No.
No. Okay. So first option over now. We cannot directly integrate. We don't have a solution there. Come to the next part then. What is the second part? We have multipliers. Can we use some multiplier? That multiplier ABC, which we are going to multiply it there. When we multiply it, that ABC can be a constant number, some numbers, or it can be a variable also. When we multiply it to the denominator, the sum of denominator comes to 0. Sum of denominator should be 0. Yes. Is there any multiplier? Anyone? Oh. You will observe the multipliers are, first of all, we have these denominators are PQR. We are interested to select some multiplier. Let I assume that multipliers are L. LP plus MQ is equal to NR. That should be 0. That means sum of this denominator should be 0. We have to select that element, numbers element or variable element so that their sum is a 0. So if I say my element multipliers are, say, 1 by x or 1 by x square, I would say 1 by x square, 1 by y square, and 1 by z square. If you observe, if you divide this p by x square, q by r y square, and r by z square, then y minus z plus z minus x minus y is the 0. Is it? Is it? So the step number 1, we got the multipliers as 1 by x square, 1 by y square, and 1 by z square. That is one thing. So by multiplying 1 by x square, 1 by y square, 1 by z square to PQR, that is coming 0, which indicates the numerator should be 0. What is the numerator then? The numerator is 1 by x square dx plus 1 by y square dy plus 1 by z square dz, and that should be a 0. And now if we integrate this, we get answer. What is the integration of 1 upon x square? Minus 1 by x minus 1 by y minus 1 by z, and that is a c1. So I will say 1 by x plus 1 by y plus 1 by z is a c1. Okay, I will take c1 dash and c1. So we got one solution. Can you tell me one similar multipliers? There is similar multipliers which gives us again that LP plus MQ plus NR as a 0. So this example is only with the help of multiplier you can do it. That's a simple thing actually. Yes. Any other multiplier? Any other multiplier, when you multiply to the PQR, that sum is coming 0.
Multiply all by 0.
No, zeros cannot be a multiplier. Okay. Zeros cannot, because it doesn't give us a solution. If you multiply 0 in the denominator, you have to multiply 0 to the numerator. It gives 0 dx plus 0 dy plus 0 dz, and integration is not possible. Integration. So you are not going to get one more solution there. Okay, the multipliers are always non-zero. At least one multiplier should be non-zero. Yes, any other? I selected 1 by x square, 1 by y square, 1 by this. You observe PQR mainly. What should be multiplied to that PQR so that their addition comes to the zero? This one, PQR. Focus on these three things. So just I observed that if I cancel x square, y square, z square, then it is sum is coming 0. Similarly, if I multiply only by 1 by x, 1 by y and 1 by z, what happens if I multiply? So it becomes xy minus, the first term becomes, because xx gets cancelled, we left xy minus xz. Second term left yz minus yx, and last term xz minus yz. So you'll observe that plus xz minus xz cancel, yz minus yz, and again coming 0. This also gives us a 0 there. So this also can be a multiplier. This also can be a multiplier. So it gives us 1 by x dx plus 1 by y dy plus 1 by z dz should be 0. This sum of numerator should be 0. And now integrating, it is a log x plus log y plus log z. Log x plus log y plus log z is equal to C2. So xyz equal to, it is log C2 actually, and then xyz is a C2. So this is the way we are generally getting now the solutions. Let I show you all a complete solution here. So first thing, x 1 by x square, 1 by y square, 1 by z square is selected, and next is selected 1 by x, 1 by y, 1 by z. So xyz is a C2, and phi of u comma v equal to 0. Phi of u comma v equal to 0 is a complete solution there. You will observe here. Phi of u comma v is a complete solution there. Got it? One last question after this. We'll do it.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes.
I'm not getting this, sir. So we have to choose different, like you have choose 1 by x square, 1 by y square, 1
Correct.
by z.
Correct. Huh? We have
So,
to.
sir, all the three,
Yes. Yes. First, complete your work.
yes, sir. So all the three are different now, sir. So,
Yes, they are all. Uh, I'm saying the multipliers are say LMN. Just 1 minute. The multipliers are some LMN. These elements are not necessarily a number. They are function of x, y, z. Okay, they can be a different. They can be a same. Only important thing is if they are PQR here. If they are PQR, the important thing should be LP. When you multiply L with a P, M with a Q, and N with a R, that sum should be 0. Okay. If these element multiplied with PQR, their sum of denominator is 0, the sum of numerator should be 0 then. Okay, the sum of numerator should be 0. So this, if this is a 0, this always gives us LDX plus MDY plus NDZ is always 0, because by that theorem of equal ratio, I already shown you that fallacy, na? Because this is the way, this is the reason why I'm saying when the sum of denominator is 0, sum of a numerator should be 0 in the theorem of equal ratio. Okay, in the theorem of equal ratio. So theorem of equal ratio says if we select elements such that this LP plus MQ plus NR is a 0, that LDX plus MDY plus NDZ should be 0, and that we are using here. That is, here it is written L into P plus M into Q. L into numerator actually. This is a, these elements are multiplied to the numerator, and this is always possible to integrate. And what is the important thing again you observed here, the multipliers are selected so that L should be the function of x only, L should be function of x only, M should be the function of y only, and N should be the function of z only. Why we are doing that? Because the coefficient, the numerator differential coefficient is dx, and to integrate dx we should have fx only, the function of x only. Okay, so when we selected this multiplier element, actually indirectly we are selecting some function of x, function of y, and function of z, whose multiplication with PQR, that sum should come as a 0 there. That's why.
sir,
Hmm?
So 1 by x square, when we are multiplying with that dx by x square y minus z,
Uh,
so how the denominator is becoming 0, sir?
you will observe. Let I show you. So these are multipliers we selected, is it? Now let me multiply here. So 1 by x square into this denominator. Na? So what is the denominator? Denominator is x square into y minus z. Sorry, just this is a y minus z. Okay, I am correcting here. Plus 1 by y square into that y square into z minus x plus 1 by z square into z square into x minus y. Is that? So that is the denominator. So this x square, this gets cancelled everywhere. And what left? Y minus z plus z minus x plus x minus y. And that is coming 0, is it?
Okay, sir. Okay. I was multiplying it separately. That's why I'm not.
No, no. You have to multiply 1 by x square to the first ratio, 1 by y square to the second, 1 by z square to the third ratio. And not only in the denominator, you have to multiply it both numerator and denominator. So when we multiplying it to all denominators, that sum is coming 0. The same thing we are saying that sum of numerator should be 0. That's all.
Got it, sir.
Okay, good. Any other doubt? No? So I'll show you one more question, one last question. So the question is on the screen. X square minus y square minus z square, x square minus y square minus z square into p is equal to 2xyq is equal to 2xz. 2xyq is equal to 2xz. Let I show you the auxiliary equation here. The auxiliary equation is a dx upon x square minus y square minus z square dy upon 2xy and dz upon 2xz. Now you tell me the one solution at least. Yes, at least one solution, quick. That is easy. No one is there?
Sir, direct integrating last
Yes,
two.
very good. Yes, that's a good observation. You'll observe the last two ratios. 2x gets cancelled. Dy upon y equal to dz by z. So log y equal to log z plus log c. And you can say y by z equal to c1. So that may be the first solution. So one of the solution is a very simple right now. But second is maybe the little tricky, or that is important how you will find it. So first solution is very easy. Yes, he got y by z equal to c1, y by z equal to c1. It is direct integration of the last two ratio, direct integration of last two ratio. Now, what about the other? Direct integration, is it possible now for second? It's not. Okay. Direct integration is not now possible. So left two things, theorem of equal ratio or multiplier. Think in your own way and check which should be which you can use it. Can anyone think on multipliers? See, generally multipliers we use to make denominator as a 0 when the denominators are in cyclic order. What is a cyclic? Cyclic is like a minus b, b minus c, c minus a. Okay, p minus q, q minus r minus p, something like that. If such a cyclic terms appear there, okay, symmetric terms I will say otherwise. If symmetric terms appear, then generally the denominator 0 can be a possible. In this case, the terms in the denominator are not in that fashion. You'll observe the terms in the denominator are not in the fashion of like a minus b, b minus c, c minus a. So sum of denominator is not possible to make it as a 0. Okay, but you can use some multiplier. So that it come f dash upon f form. Can you guess? Can you guess? Can you make it in the form of f dash x upon fx or derivative upon that function form so that you can integrate? If you multiply both numerator and denominator and add it, you should get f dash upon f form. No one? So each example have little different thing maybe, but when you complete this, there are total 7 examples under Lagrange's. So when you do all this, or when you do just 5-6 examples, you will familiar with all possible methods there. So this is the last method actually, what we are going to use it here. So that are the different methods only. So you learned near about all methods now. Few more questions I will solve with other division, the different question, and I will upload the videos on different examples on TMI LMS. So you can go through it. You can go through it there later on. Okay. So any guess, anyone? What should be a multiplier so that it comes in f dash upon f form? Nobody is giving answer. Huh? So multiplier concept is a tricky. So you're not getting still.
That 2x,
Very 2x. Okay.
2x multiply to all the numerators.
Okay, good. You can multiply 2x, 2y, 2z or just xyz. So here I take an xyz there. You'll observe here it took xyz. So if you multiply xyz to the numerator and denominator, it comes x dx plus y dy plus z dz divided by, now when you multiply by x to this one, it becomes x cube minus xy square minus xz square plus 2xy square plus 2xz square, and we left with here x cube plus xy square plus xz square. So actually we are getting each ratio is equal to this much. So so each ratio comes x dx plus y dy plus z dz divided by, in the denominator if you take x common, you left with x square plus y square plus z square. So this is each ratio. This first ratio, second ratio, third ratio equal to this one. So all these 4 ratios are equal. This is the theorem of equal ratios. Okay, by theorem of equal ratios, when you multiply by xyz to the numerator, so same xyz should be multiplied in the denominator, and whatever the process you are doing in the numerator, like you are adding in numerator, so you should add in the denominator also. That way. Now just you have to take this ratio with this ratio, or this ratio with this ratio, and you get one more solution. Because of that, I'm saying there are multiple solutions and you have to write at least 2 solutions there. Suppose I take this last ratio with this ratio. If I equate last with that ratio, so this xx gets cancelled and I will get dz by z, and now this 2 is not useful on the left hand side, so this 2 I will give on this side. So this become 2x dx plus 2y dy plus 2z dz upon x square plus y square plus z square, and now it is in the form of f dash upon f. You will observe the derivative of denominator present in the numerator on both sides. Integrating, it's log z is equal to log of that x square plus y square plus z square plus log c, and the final answer is z upon that is equal to c. So you got 2 solution and that's answer there. So this is the way that you have to look to the problem, and at the end you can write phi of u comma v equal to 0 or u equal to phi of v. U is equal to phi of v. That's one. If any doubt is there, yes, you can ask.